safety moment. His name is Mr. Isaiah Okunlola. He has over 3 decades of experience in the upstream oil and gas industry. 2 decades of that was with ExxonMobil, where he held various management and leadership positions. So currently, he's a vice president geoscience technical of Bafor and subsurface technical consultant with CISPRO, which is a Guyana-based oil and gas company. So, Mr. Okunola, you have the floor. Thank you.
Good evening, fellow NAPE members in Nigeria, and good afternoon here in North America. I'm going to be sharing remote working safety. That's just because most of us work online nowadays, and a couple of tips that we can use to work remotely. One of the first things that we need to do is to establish a dedicated workspace. It's tempting to be if you're working from home, it is tempting to say, oh, I can work on my bed, I can work in my living room and all of those things. And it comes with some challenges if we don't have a dedicated workspace. So, and also investing in agronomic share is very, very important when you have that dedicated office. Working in a well-lit space is important as well. So in that order. And for us to stay organized when you are working remotely, one of the safety things to do is to have a dedicated work schedule. You know, it helps your body also to get to a routine. And in addition to that, it helps to navigate with your family situation and stuff like that. If your family knows this is the time you are working, then they will let you focus and concentrate and get much done. Part of setting boundary also include making sure that you build into your program time of breaks when you need to take dedicated break. Actually, if you sit down for so long working in a space, you impact your blood flow, and that's lead to health challenges if it is not well managed in future. So for safety, one is to set boundaries, work time, and the time for regular breaks, and so on and so forth. Also, if one doesn't have that in place, it may even affect your productivity as well in terms of getting burnout and so on and so forth. The other thing I want to talk about setting boundaries is eating habits. It is tempting to be eating snacks when you are home, you are working behind your computer and stuff like that, and that will have health challenge in future if one continue to consume unhealthy food like snacks and so on and so forth. So just like you would do when you work in offices, you go for regular and balanced diet. It is important also to eat healthy when you are working from home. Part of eating healthy is to stay hydrated. This is my water bottle. I always put near me. So you drink a lot of water. If you don't stay hydrated, it can lead to health challenge in future, fainting, vomiting, and so on and so forth because of dehydration. Okay. One other thing I want to mention is because of what the subject we are talking about today, you know, it is very, very important to keep our system safe from hackers. This one you can do in several ways. Strong password, set strong password on your system, have a VPN, virtual encryption material that nobody can hack your system and so on and so forth. If you generate the valuable data, of course, it's something that will be tempting for somebody to come and steal. And in our business, data is money, as we all know. One other thing that we need to invest on in terms of safety for our system and for computer is backup system, where you back up your data in case your computer breaks down or something happens to your system. You can protect your computer from power surge or thunderstorm by investing in cheap power, something as cheap as a power surge. So I think that will be sufficient for remote work safety. There are a lot of things we can do, but I just decided to highlight those ones for sake of our time. Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you very much, sir. That was very, very instructive. I'm sure we learned a lot. So I'm wondering if anyone has any question with respect to the safety moment. Working from home has come to stay. So virtually all, or if not most, workplaces have hybrid working systems. So we spend a lot of time working from home also now. So those were very, very interesting and important pointers you raised there, sir. So I wonder, does anyone have any questions, or we can just move ahead? Okay, so in the absence of any question, we go to the next part of the agenda. So right now, we should take some opening remarks from the NAPE president or president-elect, but I understand they are still in a meeting now, and it's past 11 o'clock in Nigeria, but they are still in a meeting. Hopefully, they will be able to join us at some point during the presentation. Okay, so without wasting too much time, I would go ahead to introduce the chairman of today's event. Okay, and actually he's someone that needs no introduction. But for the sake of those who don't know him, I would try to introduce him, because he's such an accomplished person in the industry. He's an accomplished geologist with over 4 decades of experience in the business of finding, developing, and producing hydrocarbons in offshore Nigeria, as well as the Gulf of Mexico. If you mention a lot of the notable fields offshore Nigeria, especially the eastern southeastern part of the Niger Delta, he's worked on virtually all of those fields: the UBITs, the EDOPS, all those mega fields that we heard about. He's worked on them, and he's also held various positions in management and leadership. He's the past president of the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists. So we have him here. He's an esteemed past president. He was president from 2004 to 2005. And he was also past president of AAPG Africa region from 2012 to 2014, and also a past director of the National Data Repository Board. He's authored several technical papers and reports. He's coordinated the production of about 24 lecture series on technical and soft skills, which have been deployed to a lot of Nigerian universities, across the country. He's done a lot of work in AAPG. He developed what we call the Exciting World of Geology, which is a sort of geoscience career talk, which we use even up till now, and we've delivered over 400 talks, across schools in Africa, not just in Nigeria. So he's someone who believes in people and goes beyond the usual call of duty to touch people's lives in a remarkable way. We all know him very well. He's energetic. He's a great team player. And he's a good manager of people and resources. So join me in welcoming chairman for today's event, Mr. Gilbert Odio F. Nape. The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry, my light is a bit poor anyway, though my head is bald, so you may not be able to see it. Yeah, good evening, everybody, and you're welcome. And I'm excited to be part of NAPE anywhere, which I have played a role along all my career from 1982 to today. And excited about this. Today's lecture is going to be delivered by Gbubemi Bafor, SLB. There's Slumbeji. Okay, they've shortened it to SLB. So he is a technical person, and let's see, Bafor is an accomplished energy professional. He has done about 24 years in SLB. And he started as a formation, evaluation, and production engineer wireline. And Bafor swiftly progressed into management, and he has done 12 years in wireline operations. Throughout his career, he has excelled in various roles, including HSC VP in drilling and measurements, OFS, and well overseeing human resources, and serving as drilling group USLVP and digital drilling director. Currently, Bafor is the division manager for D&I, responsible for USL. Beyond work, Bafor is a family man with loving marriage, and he has 2 kids. I think some may be on the way also. And he indulges in, he has a passion for soccer and golf. And this is a good time for people who like soccer. You are in between 2 different soccer competitions, one in Europe, one in South America. So you can watch one in the morning and one in the evening. So let us welcome Bafor, the person who is giving us a talk today. And welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Ademola, I guess you want me to share my screen, right?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Just let me know when you can see this.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Is it obscured by anything?
Yeah, we can see the icons on your desktop. Okay. So you might want to put it in slide mode, presentation mode. Yeah, it's good now. It's good.
All right. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. I guess like Mr. Gilbert Odio said, my name is Gbubemi Bafor. I'm Nigerian. I'm from the Warri area, Cocoa area to be specific. I've been with Schlumberger 26 years now, and I'm based in the US. I've worked on 4 different continents, including Nigeria, Port Harcourt, Lagos. And I come to the digital world now with a bit of good experience in operations. So I will be sharing with you what my thoughts are and my experiences, and what I think are the key components to understand about digital transformations. Demola, how do you want to take questions? You want them at the end of the presentation or during?
We'll take them at the end of the presentation.
Okay. So I like to, when I do presentations, sometimes I like to start with the definitions, just so we're clear what we're talking about. I will look quickly at what a digital transformation really means, and then we will also look at what oil field challenges am I zooming on in talking about the application of digital challenges to the oil field sector. We'll talk about how we leverage it and what are the key components of leveraging digital transformation. A very important aspect of the success of a digital transformation is change management, often overlooked by engineers. We typically zoom in on the technical features and how it should work, what it should do, what value it should bring, and we forget about the human aspect of it, or what we call the soft side of any kind of change. And I will talk about that a little bit. I will show some industry examples. Not an in-depth presentation of them, but I'm always happy to take you after the call one-on-one at a more opportune time through each of those examples and how they can help you all. various organizations. And then I'll just share some final thoughts. So definitions. I want to start with the digital transformation. So in many places you would look, it tells you that it's how we integrate digital technology in every aspect of a business or organization, irrespective of what that business organization is. And with the word transformation, it means there's a fundamental change in how you operate that business or how that organization functions and the value that organization brings to the customers, the shareholders, and to general outcome that it has defined for itself. There are a couple of components of digital transformation to take note of. We have technology adoption, and this is where you leverage best-in-class technology to improve not only accuracy, but the efficiency of what you do or the processes you have. You also look at operational efficiency, which is, again, it's a cornerstone of most organizations and businesses. Is how do you streamline your business processes? How do you reduce your cost? How do you bring efficiencies that scale across all operations that you undertake? Then in today's world, since the advent of big data, data-driven decisions have become a key component of how we digitally transform operations and businesses. How do you use data to make quick decisions, to make informed decisions, to make decisions with the best of information, and that makes your outcomes more robust. The other thing is we see a major change in the business models once you're able to do things like this. Once you're able to make decisions faster, you're able to be more accurate, you're able to be more robust in your outcomes. You start to have the opportunity to bring about innovative business models, which leverage the advent of technology. An example is the ability to work in the cloud, to compute in the cloud. That changes significantly from having to have digital infrastructure in your house, in your office. If you have to change or increase your simulation requirements, it means buying a whole new set of infrastructure. Whereas if you're in the cloud, it's just about switching on some more modules and or tenant power. So that's a significant change or component of digital transformation. Organizational change, and this is very key. The culture, how does the organization adapt to the change in technology and the adoption of technology and the use of technology in delivering the outcomes required? This needs management, okay? So in a nutshell, that's what we talk about when we talk about digital transformation. Then now, if I bring that to the oil field, I decide to zoom in on operational challenges. So exploration risk for all of us on the call, I felt this was very, pertinent, because as petroleum engineers and as petroleum explorationists, this is number one thing why we're employed: find oil. So how do we find new oil and gas reserves? It's, the percentage success rate for exploration is not in the 90s, as we all know. With no guarantee of success, we have to look at significant decisions around how we invest in this activity. Drilling and completions, it's always been a race to get to the technical limits of drilling and completions. How do we drop the cost associated with delivering a well safely and in time? In deep water or in unconventional plays. Reservoir management, again, this is the number one. This is the pride and joy of every E&P company. How do I manage my reservoir efficiently to make sure that I'm able to maximize production from my assets? Okay. Now, how does this come together? So the digital transformation is again, I always zoom in on that word, transformation. It's a disruption. It's a disruption of what we do naturally and normally in a business to create step change, to deliver new horizons of performance and value, both to ourselves and our customers. It definitely changes how we do work. It definitely changes how we see value, how we are able to monetize value, how we're able to bring both shareholder value and returns to our various organizations. If I focus on the upstream, impact of digital transformation, it really centers around, what we do with data and how we interpret that data to make not just profitable decisions, but to make cost-effective plays in assets, and how we purchase assets, how we develop assets, and how we manage assets. You have the Internet of Things, and this helps us optimize our production activities and our general operations. Modernization of our technology portfolio, so bringing out new value, leveraging new technologies that come into the market, consumption models, cloud subscription. These all change how companies work and the culture and how we do our business. We're able to standardize and automate a lot of what we do, leveraging AI, leveraging the cloud, and leveraging machine learning principles. The graph on the right is just an illustration of what we talked about and what disruption brings to business outcomes. First set is optimization, where you do everything you can to improve your returns, and whether you like it or not, there is a plateau you will get to. And then you bring in new technologies that really change what you do and how you do it, and you can really disrupt the outcomes that you're able to deliver. I will now take some time to look at value creation when we talk about, digital transformation. How do we do this? There are three things that we need to be, cognizant of, especially in the oil and gas field. One is domain understanding. You can bring all the digital technology you want. If you don't have good domain understanding, you're not going to be able to leverage that technology to transform your business or your operations or your outcomes. So good domain knowledge is extremely important in how we leverage digital transformation in our operations. The digital expertise, of course, is something that you have to have. How do you leverage or adopt a new technology? Understanding it and being able to figure out how you can use it to the best of its ability becomes a key component of delivering performance with digital transformation. And last but not the least is being able to leverage the technology and infrastructure gains that have been made in the industry by selecting the right software, selecting the right infrastructure plan or roadmap. And this way you're able to not just execute, but also accelerate your E&P workflows. If I look at what possibilities exist, I took just three examples. I looked at workflow optimization. So how do we democratize and upskill our staff and our members of our team such that they're able to leverage the technology and power of AI in optimizing their workflows? How do we take mundane tasks that are repetitive and not value adding and automate them such that we're able to spend more time as engineers to look at concepts around our workflows and really get the best out of those workflows? How do we make data accessible to every aspect of our operation, that we're all looking at the same golden data? We're all looking at the same platform to make the same informed decision, and the life of a well is easily tracked, and we get learnings, and we're able to turn those learnings very quickly back into optimizing our next phase of operations, thereby shortening the entire learning cycle that we go through as we go through our jobs. How do we unlock the value, from experiment to impact? The oil and gas industry is really one of those industries where technology and what we discover in technology is really at the forefront of what we do. So AI foundations, leveraging big data and automation helps us speed up this process and this inherent aspect of our DNA. I want to spend some time to look at the current trends in AI and in technology. So on the left is a rough estimate by by my experience of how we use various components of new technology to digitally transform businesses in the oil and gas. Predictive analytics, how do we use that? We almost 22% of what we do is all around connectivity, collecting data, and using that data to provide insights to figure out what's going to happen next. Artificial intelligence is gaining a lot of ground, and I predict that in the future, this is going to form a much larger percentage of what we do. Big data will always have a place in what we do. The more data you gather, the more information you're able to pull, the more you're able to feed predictive analytics and AI models and machine learning models based on data you can collect. Robotics and automation is gaining ground in everything we do. On the safety side of things, being able to send robots into places that are dangerous for people, being able to use robots for high-risk tasks, tank inspections, leak detection. These things become very, very relevant as we look as we go forward. Being able to use cameras to detect high risk PPE situations where hazards are missing in red zones and things like that. And I think underlying all of this is cloud computing. Cloud computing has given us an ability to really compute on demand, to run simulations on demand, where before you were limited by the infrastructure you had physically in your location. Today, you have a massive data center somewhere, giving you the ability to open up computing to unheard of scales in the past. So on the right are just icons that depict these different things: monitoring tools, sensors, drone systems, Gen AI, augmented reality tools for training, big data ecosystems. And if I pull that into what it looks like in an oil field, we start to look at how this is placed in an oil field, using drones to monitor our oil field setup, using AI and for remote sensing with sensors around the rig, being able to put cameras that create red zones for PPE usage and alert us. Both on surface and downhole, we have all sorts of monitoring, insight collection, automated feedback loops to tell us what is doing, and we can go as far as looking at things like intelligent water flood detection and feedback. We can control valves in closed loops. We can do so many things with today's technology that has changed the outlook we have for our wells, the life, and how much value we can pull out of our assets going forward. This is a report we got from McKinsey when we were looking at our own digital transformation. It looks at, on the left, we talk about the sectors, and it says that between 2 to 6 times is the value created by companies that leverage a digital transformation initiative. And leaders who run or who drive this typically end up showing extra value to their shareholders or their companies. On the right is a graph that just it's a graph that looks anecdotally at the different industries. So insurance industries have a 6-fold when they implement digital transformations. The consumer industry is 2.9, and the energy and materials industry is a 2.3-fold improvement in outcomes. So it's McKinsey says the value of digital and AI capabilities is real, and I think I can attest to that fact because I live it every day. Now I'll get to a portion of it which is change management, which is, like I said earlier on, we often tend to overlook. And here, this statement again is something we pulled out of a McKinsey report. It says less than 30% of digital transformation programs succeed. This falls under 11% success for more traditional industries such as oil and gas, automotive infrastructure, and pharmaceuticals. And you know, we take it for granted when we embark on it. And as engineers, we typically think that the technology is great, it's good enough, and it should sell itself. That's not correct, right? There are certain factors that affect the performance of a good technology. And some of those factors include, you know, what is the sense of urgency? What is the burning platform on which this digital transformation has been launched? Why the change? Why the need for change? How do you convince people who have learned, excelled, and become competent in a certain way of working to change to a better way of working? What is a compelling event for them? What's in it for them? How do you make them go through that journey? How are you able to provide information for them to be able to do that or take that journey? You have to be pragmatic. In some cases, you will fail. You have to be able to learn from that failure, turn around quickly, and start again. You have to adopt an agile approach, which is not necessarily how we've done a lot of things traditionally. There has to be, you know, when I used to do my internship, I worked in a company with very old technicians, and there was this thing about the technicians from one shift to the other. If they did something new, they tried to keep it to themselves, and information was golden for them. It almost was like that's how you save your career. Now, you know, you have to share information. You have to you have to democratize information. People have to have access to information to be able to make change successful. Digital self-service technology, it has to be available. It has to be on demand. You have to be able to change your IT operating models. You know, we talked about cybersecurity earlier on during the safety moment. This obviously is something that is extremely key, and people have to change how you secure a cloud tenant is totally different from how you would secure a hard drive, for example, right? Changing your business processes, adapting to the new efficiencies and the new accuracy is also something that you would have to do. And here, just you know, looking at an example of technology adoption. On the left is you know, as we push new technologies, we start talking about, you know, cybersecurity, cloud-based, mobile devices, you know, AI and machine learning models, data analytics, big data. What kind of user interface is your technology going to have? How does your new technology become intuitive enough for your consumers to quickly adopt and become competent at its use? Internet of Things. How do you manage all of this? And then on the right-hand side, we talk about, you know, how do we adopt these challenges and disruptions? Your business operating models, you know, your organization will change. Your IT operating model also changes. Cybersecurity. How do you go through your learning process, your agile process of accelerating new technology, the learnings from it, and putting it back into operations? What is the culture, and how do you manage that digital culture? How do you manage your new partners? You know, when you do a digital transformation, your vendor type changes. You suddenly move from hardware suppliers to cloud suppliers and to digital technology providers. That in itself is a big change that the organization has to adapt itself to. In the last phase of the presentation, I want to look at some industry examples. How have we done this? So this is, sorry. This here is an example of predictive health monitoring tools, right? This is using technology and data that we pull from equipment in the field to figure out how these tools are working. You apply physics and big data to take information from equipment, compressors, valves. I mean, you can use it for compressor health. You can use it for rig. You can use it as we did one the other day where we looked at predicting the catastrophic failure of choke valves. And the value of this is that if we could predict the choke valve failure 8 hours before, we could change the inserts, and that would save 2 days of lost production on the line, versus a 2-hour operation where we could just change the insert and go back into operation. For many fields, this becomes as simple as putting data together and providing insights for the customer in real time. You are able to provide such a value on many levels, on the level of not losing production, on the level of dropping your emissions by eliminating the need for a technician to drive around your field in a truck checking out those valves. The second example here is going to be looking at AI for HSE performance. I alluded to it earlier on. We have monitoring systems today that use computer vision, um, and this is becoming more and more prevalent in the industry. Being able to see what's happening on the rig, being able to create red zones, and using camera and visual programs define when you have a hazardous situation from a PPE perspective, have sensors and monitors that detect leak, have robotic um, dogs that go around looking for unsafe conditions or investigating unsafe situations, and being able to put them all together, leveraging data as well as sensors and devices. Real-time emissions monitoring. So here we use, again, using computer vision and deep learning, to aid the detection and quantification of efforts with methane gas plumes. In this example, we see, or we can use methane leader cameras. These are special cameras that detect methane as if it does leak in facilities or pipelines. And then you can measure, you can create an alarm, you can shut in a valve. So you can have a full automated loop back to take action. You can raise an alarm, you can put set points. All of this being done by the ability to now leverage new technologies in the industry. GenA powered operational risk assessment. Here we use, we know that in all of our operations, there are always challenges, and being able to pull information from reports and unstructured data and put it together in a format that can then provide insights to increasing risk challenges during our operations. Something as simple as, are we measuring the units in inches or in centimeters? Can now be done using Gen AI and provide insights on the fly and very quickly. And last but not the least, this is probably one where we're looking at property modeling. Is more involving. This is for geoscientists and reservoir modelers, and this is leveraging machine learning in conjunction with classic geostatistical estimation and simulation techniques. We put this together to using algorithms and based on geostatistical prior models that you've put together, or spatial continuity, and correlating all of this with decision forest-based tool to provide a robust, fast estimate and simulating realizations of what you suspect or what you've put together. Now, what this does is it really takes the time a geomodeler will spend to produce results and cuts it by a significant amount. Here, what we saw in our examples were a 75% reduction in time and 20% improvement in accuracy on the predictions. And these are real examples we've done for customers and in our operations. So when looking at final thoughts, you can achieve efficiency at scale if you properly leverage digital transformation. You can produce exceptional results on a very large scale, and you can repeat this several times. Change management is super important in doing this because you will have cultural change that's going to be required. You will have the situation where in some cases people think, oh, AI is coming to replace my job. No, AI is a tool that's going to help you do your job better. And I think the realized gain from digital transformation is real. The better you leverage it, the more exceptional your results will be, and the more we can get to exponential gain. And to leave this with you, that artificial intelligence is not a substitute for human intelligence. It's a reminder that this is AI is just a tool. It's a tool we use to improve our performance, to make us like the vice president of open of ChatGPT said once, artificial intelligence makes us super engineers. And that truly is the case. It gives us the ability to expand our influence on what we do in our jobs every day. Thank you very much. I think at this point, we'll take any questions that have arisen. Thanks, Demola.
Yes, thank you very much, Gbubemi, for that presentation. Very nice presentation. I'm sure there would be a lot of questions. But before we take questions, we have in our midst the president-elect of NAPE. So he would deliver a welcome address. We were to take this earlier, but he'll give us the welcome address now. And yeah, Mr. John Bosco, you have the floor.
No, thank you very much, Demola Lanisa. And again, my greetings to everybody on the call. I know it's evening time for you in North America, but I see also on the call, a few folks joined from Nigeria. So again, a good night, I will say, for those in Nigeria, because it's quite late now. Apologies, this is not happening a bit early, but I think it's also coming out in good shape, because that also then made me also stay back to listen to the whole presentation, which I thought was quite good. So, but on that note, I will really say, Gbubemi, Mr. Bafor, it's been honored to have the opportunity to join today to really witness this session. Again, thanks for accepting to do what you're doing. And also quite very excited. And then one of the leaders that we typically see, for us that I imagine we feel empowered, is the chairperson for today's session. And in the name of Gilbert Odio, FNAPE, and the past president. And again, for everything yourself, Demola, and your team you're doing. So I just want to say on behalf of the NAPE executives, and of course, extending it to AC and the BOT, to say thank you very much. And for everyone that is dialed online for this, just be rest assured that you are not wasting your time, because NAPE is the knowledge base of the industry. And therefore, this is where ideas are shared. And already, as you would have seen, we need to then even step up the game in terms of our ideas fighting oil and gas, to adopt things around energy transformation, around digital transformation. And that's exactly what we're doing today. So that I don't take the momentum of the discussion, I will pause here as we switch to, listen to the questions and comment that is going to follow. But thanks, Lanisa, and everybody, for this opportunity. And I will still stay back to enjoy the remaining part of the session. So back to you, Lanisa.
Thank you very much, my P. It's good to have you here, and thank you for that address.
Thank you.
Right. So I'll still call on our chairman, to say a few words after the presentation. If you have questions, please, you can drop them in the Q&A panel under the chat, and then we will read them out. So over to you, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Therefore, I want to say thank you so much for giving us a lot of power on what to know about the digital data and digital transformation. It's something that is taking us by storm. It's taking the oil and gas, every aspect of the life, from technology to oil to pharmacy, everything. It has taken a lot of these things, including the artificial intelligence and all this. But I'm very happy that I was part of this, because I learned quite a lot today. You first of all, said the processing of digital technology into all areas of business organization, fundamentally challenging how it operates from the beginning, how it can change the process. That is one area we did. Then talk about the exploration risk that we used to identify new oil, gas reserves and others. Then also drilling, completion and others in the oil and gas, and the reservoir management of old fields and new, and then knowing the small things to do to get more efficient and all the rest of them. How now we can use predictive methods and others to get a lot better. Even in the drilling, then we can even predict drilling ahead. We know what is we're going into and all this. Things we used to do physically by going to measure the emissions and all the rest of them, we now do through technology and through this transformation, digital transformation, by using AI to monitor the emission and also to monitor the leaks and all that, so that we don't get blown out of the water and others. And we saw that, didn't see that the domain, you have to understand where you are, and you understand a good understanding of the domain is very important. If you don't know what you need to, you'll be groping in the dark. And then there has to be a collective demand to make a decision that we need to change. That if you believe in the change, then it will work. If you just want to continue to use the matured ideas you had before, your increase and everything will keep going down. And then you see, when you do a change management and then use the artificial intelligence and all the other digital thing with cloud computing, the gain could be very huge. It could be very exponential, as we see this thing. So there are a lot more benefits in this thing. And then you talk about cloud computing, how that has helped, especially in the reservoir engineering, modeling, and all the so all we used to big computer, IBM computers, to do a whole lot. Now with cloud computing, we can handle a lot of more data and then just scratch it away, and then you get a model you can believe in. Has simulation and all the rest of them. We used to have experts who can model those things, but now everybody needs it. So remember, if you don't have any special computer, you can't even do your interpretation. Now you can do interpretation using a laptop and all this. Things that move along, and the digital, so the life cycle has changed. That we estimate that in the near future, there will be a lot more gain from digital transformation. This is what we are seeing and we are witnessing. And the efficiency will come along as we do it. And then we change the way we do things and bring things across the organization process. So the entire company will be involved. At the end of the day, you said no matter how we go about and the success we believe in, artificial intelligence is not a substitute for the human beings. The human will still play a major role to interpret what has been done, because it's what you put into the artificial intelligence that can be taken out. So that's a brief summary of what you said. A lot more came to me, but I don't want to take this. So thank you so much. I appreciate this. We enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Odio. I think that is an exceptional recap of the presentation if I've ever seen one. That is quite an amazing recap. Thank you very much. It gives me the pleasure to know that you were not only were you listening, but you probably can give the presentation tomorrow morning. So well done, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So I think we will go to questions now. You can type your questions in the Q&A chat or in the general chat box, and we will read them out. So I have some questions here. So the first question, so it goes like this. How does digital transformation contribute to sustainability and reduction of carbon footprint in the energy industry?
Okay, that's a fantastic question, and I think it's one I usually like to talk about, because when I speak to senior VPs or chief technology officers, it's one of the ways that you can really show immediate value. So let's take water unloading in pipelines, right? Today, the way we do that is we send a technician in a car to go from valve to valve to valve, and they look at the pressure of the wellhead, they shut it in if they see there's more water than gas there, and so on and so forth. We create thresholds for them. They let the pressure build up, and then you open the valve back. Now, the truth is, if I put a sensor up, on both sides of that same valve, one side of the pipeline, the other side of the pipeline, bring that data into a very simple model, set my thresholds, and based on those thresholds, send commands to that valve to open or close. I've just eliminated the need of a technician to drive around. If you calculate how much diesel is burnt in the car going around those fields every day, that immediately gives you a direct dollars and cent calculation of not just emission, but emission across all the various stages, right? So using digital transformation methods, you are able to eliminate tasks that not only bring efficiency, accuracy, but also at scale can drop your emission generation, right? How on things you generate emissions on. And you can take examples like this all the way to how your rigs operate, how your frac crews operate, how you produce your wells. It's all about efficiency. It's all about being able to pull data together, provide insights at very new horizons of speed and efficiency, and bringing them back into your operations.
Okay, thank you. I have another question here from Precious also. So Precious is asking, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges of adopting digital transformation in E&P? For instance, from the report in your presentation, other industries have more growth compared to the energy industry.
I think there are two things. One, our industry is full of engineers. So part of an engineer's DNA is to do things the hard way, and trust. If I give you, let's say you're a drilling engineer, for example, right? If I gave you a software that took a 1D mechanical earth model, calculated your borehole stability, and told you these are the results of your borehole stability and they are correct, I can tell you that 9 out of 10 drilling engineers will not believe that output. They would want to manually calculate it for half a day and verify every foot of that calculation before they accept it. It's just by nature. It's who we are. We are engineers. So the trust of the output from technology, it's a challenge, and the speed at which you're able to calibrate the output of technology is going to accelerate adoption of technology in the industry. And you see this very simply. Every time you sell new software to the customer, the very first question the customer says is, I want to run a I want to run a pilot. I want to run a proof of value. I believe the science, but I want to see it. I want to run it. In the insurance industry, when they get financial software that takes big data and calculates the trend in insurance rates, they believe it. They implement it immediately.
Hmm.
There's no delay in pilots. There's no delay in you must prove it to the nth state, all of the science associated with it. I think that's one thing. I think the second thing is we are an industry that has used, by my estimate, maybe less than 10% of the total information available to us. If you think of a drilling operation, the amount of information generated when you drill a well, we do not use more than 10% of that information when we go back to drill the second well. We just don't have the capacity to do that. As technology evolves and we start to do that, we have to change our culture of understanding and wanting to use that technology, that information back and feed it back into what we do. I think those two things are the major blockers in E&P is the deep science and the DNA of the engineers who run that deep science to trust that AI and new technologies can give you the same level of accuracy.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I have a question here from your very good friend, Akbofure Isiakbere. So he says, thanks, Mr. Bafor, for such an insightful presentation. Despite all the evident benefits of digital transformation, there seems to be continuous resistance to its full adoption in exploration. Most concerns point towards cybersecurity, especially. What are your thoughts towards combating this issue with cybersecurity, especially with respect to sensitive data in exploration?
Yeah. No, thank you so much, Akbofure. That's a very insightful question. And I'll start with a story. I had a customer and I was trying to sell him a cloud-based solution, and it involved data storage. And he said to me that he didn't trust it, that he would lose, the hackers could get at his data. And I upset him when I told him that, the cloud providers, Microsoft and Azure, Microsoft Azure, AWS, and Google probably spend more money on cybersecurity than the market cap of his company. He wasn't pleased with me when I said that, but that's the truth. I think the cybersecurity associated with the cloud is so much more than what we have in servers in our companies with VPN and the like. We get hacked all the time. With cybersecurity, the amount of money spent, if you think about it, if I centralize all of my data somewhere, I can then concentrate protecting that data rather than a dispersed security, apparatus. I can have a centralized security focus. The more, and this is a dilemma of digital transformation or digital. The more we use buzzwords, the more difficult it is to understand. And as humans, the less you understand something, the less you trust it. And I think that's the one of the biggest challenges of digital transformation. As you run around the digital field and with people who are immersed in this and run this, one of the questions I always ask for them is, why don't you simplify the buzzwords? Why don't you make it such that those of us who are not dining and whining on these words can understand and can use it? So I think, it's a big challenge, and the only way we can resolve it is information and more information, and being able to distill that information in a format that gets people to trust in cloud provision and how that is done. To be honest, when I present, I still don't trust my presentation to only be on one cloud. On one drive. I always want to have an example on my hard drive That just shows you that, you know, it is, but it's safer for me on OneDrive, but I still find myself, oh, I should have a copy, or I should have a hard copy, you know, something like that. But I think it's information. The more you, so what I do a lot of times is I invite customers to come and see my cybersecurity center, and that always makes a change. So if you in your organization you're facing or faced with that, I think it's a great challenge to say to the operations team, let's go and have a look at the cybersecurity solutions that are available.
Thank you very much. So I have more questions here. So this is from an anonymous attendee. So he said, talking about leveraging AI in the oil and gas operations, as much as there is a significant increase in the amount of data generated in the oil and gas operations space, there are still issues with with not enough data in terms of quality for training useful models in some instances. A very good example is building machine learning models that can predict in situ formation pressure while drilling. It's almost impossible to get pressure measurements at every depth. How do you think this can be addressed?
It's a great question, and it's the first question that when you are building a model or you're building an AI tool that you face is, do I have clean enough data to train my model, to train the AI? Do I have, is the data collection in the right format? Now, let's keep in mind where we are. We're in a transition period, like Mr. Odio said earlier on, where it has come and taken us by storm. Technology was developed on the side, and we're now trying to adopt it into an industry. So the first question I always ask people is, how do you collect data? Before AI, ML, and all of these technologies, how did you collect data? You collected data in the format where whatever was useful to you, you picked up, or you made sure you had a column or a row that had that data. If it wasn't useful to you, you didn't collect it until you needed it. So now you're in a position where, to your point, a lot of data needs to be acquired for AI or machine learning to learn and to train itself. It doesn't have, you know, what are we trying to do with AI and ML? We're trying to replicate the human brain. That's what we're trying to do. Let's call a spade a spade. We're trying to say to a machine, think like me, right? But you have the advantage of being able to pull all of this data from a magnetic tape. So pull it, use it, and think like me. The problem now is that we have not gathered that data in its clean form all the time. So you're faced with rubbish in, rubbish out. How do you manage that? We change the culture. That's why I said that in the presentation, digital transformation involves transforming everything you do, changing what you gather as information, changing the format of your morning report, of your log report, of your MDT programs, of your pressure transient programs. You have to change that, because then the more information you gather, the more robust your information gathering field is, the more you curate, or the better you curate that information, the better your models are going to work. So it's a cycle that we can speed up by changing the culture of how we do things. What does that report from the field have to include? It's, you know, I was looking at some old logs. A customer wanted me to evaluate a well, and he brought the log. It was really old, and the log had neutron porosity counts. It did not have corrected porosity. It had counts. And he said, "Oh, we have to use this, and I can, I can use this to say to give you a porosity measurement." So I said to him, I said, typically the counts, it's not accurate enough to do that. We evolved that long ago. It's the same thing in today's AI ML. We're kind of in the situation where we're looking at counts rather than looking at environmentally corrected porosity measurements from 3 detectors and looking at backscatter and long and far, and taking ratios. That's what we are. That's where we are with AI and ML in terms of data gathering. You're 100% correct in information evaluation, and pressure measurements is one of the biggest challenges we have today, because traditionally you have wells where across 150 meters we've taken 3 pressure points. If I look at in the offshore Nigeria, for example, it wasn't until the early 2000s, late 90s, we realized that you had bypass zones in turbidites and you had lots of oil in those zones. So they're thin layers, and pressure measurements would not tell you that with single probes, right? So we will get there. I think the culture and the need, the more we find out what AI can do, the better we're going to gather or set up the gathering of that data that is going to allow AI give us the best value for what we want it to do.
Thank you very much. Yes, I still have questions. Okay, so there is a question from Jose, I think. He says, what are the possibilities of version control for software and interpretation files as part of digital transformation? For example, reviewing multiple versions from different models, well tops, horizons through time by pulling from a centralized registry, or retaining multiple versions of different well log runs instead of retaining multiple files across siloed projects. More like a GitHub or geosciences, more like a GitHub for geosciences. It can accelerate collaboration and reduce redundant workflows by utilizing cloud resources. I think it's a suggestion.
When I do these kind of talks, I try not to sell my products, but you're spot on. We do have products that produce what we call it golden data, right? So I'll give an example. If the drilling engineer works on a well, we drill the well, the production engineer works on that well, the reservoir engineer works on the well, the geomodeler works on the well. We call the well Bafor_1. Somebody calls it Bafor-1. Somebody calls it Bafor-1. Somebody calls it Bafor.1. In a standard system, that would be 4 or 5 different wells. But with time, we've started training the models to understand the components of that name and to look at other parameters outside of just the name to figure out if this is the well. We can then curate all of that data and put that data together into what you'd call your Frankenstein golden well. Give me the depth, give me the pressures, give me this, give me that. A customer asked me once, when is a well a well? Is it when you drill it, when you abandon it, when you produce it, or the entire life of that well? It is the entire life of the well, but typically our systems are siloed such that I do not follow the life of a well in the same data foundation from start to finish. Now, why is this important? If I drill a well in a certain way, if I produce the well in a certain way and I abandon the well in a certain way, what have I learned from that entire process to make the next well a better producer, a faster drilled well, a safer drilled well, and a better abandoned well? What have I learned? Nothing, because it's all in silos. And we know that how I abandon the well is going to be determined by how I produce the well. How I produce the well is going to be determined by how I drill the well. How clean is the trajectory of that well is going to determine how quick or how nice we produce. How we produce the well, what pressures we use while we're producing the well is going to determine what we do when we try to abandon the well. So all of these things interlaced on the same data platform changes entirely our outcomes and the performance of our operations if we can do it. So yes, you're right. We curating data and producing a golden set of data that everybody is feeding off is the ultimate goal. We do have products that do that today. We do have systems that do that today. I can name a few: OSDU, Snowflake. That's the idea behind all of them, to create data lakes that everybody's feeding off the same data lake for a particular well, and all the information comes back in there. whether it's geomodeling, whether it's borehole stability, whether it's production data, and that changes the learning we can do, and it will improve the performance of the organization.
Thank you very much. We still have like 5 minutes for questions. So I wonder if anyone has any question.
I think there's some on the call. There's a question from Precious who says, give me an example of time saving. I'll give you a quick one. So we have this digital software called Drill Plan, and what Drill Plan does is it helps you. It converts all the workflows a drilling engineer has to do in planning as well, and converts it to digital components, and it applies AI and machine learning to a lot of them. So I give an example of looking at borehole stability. So if I bring in just as simple as a one-dimensional mechanical earth model into that software, and I have my borehole trajectory, I can run borehole stability along the length of the borehole. If you ask the drilling engineer, how long does this typically take you? It probably takes them anywhere from half a day, depending on how good he is, to a day and a half. I will do this for you in 35 seconds exactly in the system. So we took well planning with this software from on land jobs from 4 or 5 days to 3 hours, for offshore jobs from 6 months to 2 weeks. That is the exponential time saving we're talking about when you leverage the right digital tool and the right combination of digital tools to give you a transformation in your workflow.
Okay. I have a question of mine. I would like to ask. So I'll just ask you. 5, 10 years down the line from now, where do you see the industry with respect to digitization, adoption of AI, and all the digital tools we see emerging today? Do you think we will get to the point where we would have been able to trust them enough to make us more efficient? And would that really result in us, in our industry, for instance, making more discoveries or being more efficient with work?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you why. For 2 reasons. There will be a crew change, right? Today, my daughter is 25. She's an engineer. She does everything with all of her data in the cloud. She doesn't think twice. She uses an iPad for everything. She doesn't need a hard drive. I cannot survive without a 1 terabyte hard drive. I am terrified of not having my projects close to me. So her adoption level of technologies is exponentially different from mine because of how they grew up. I was telling this joke, and I think Bafor was there. When she was studying engineering, so every now and then she would come to me with a problem, and I would say, "Oh, it's engineering. I did engineering. I can help you." And she would show me. I used 4-figure tables, and then she would produce a graph, a computer that gives her the output of a graph, and she wants the output of a graph to solve the problem. And I'm still saying, man, what of log cosine of 42 or 45? We need to find it. So it's a totally different ball game on how they've adopted technology. So that is one thing. If your crew is going to be different, they have a different mentality. Different technology adoption mentality. Now, to the question the gentleman asked earlier on, because of what we know today of how AI and ML works, we are going to change how we collect data. Today, we have situations where drilling reports are generated automatically by sensors on the rig. When was the top drive up? When was the top drive down? What position was the top drive at exactly this time? What was the flow? What was the trip tank height? What was the standpipe pressure? All of these things are now measured automatically, and I can produce an automated drilling report every day, every second, right? In the past, that was a drilling, that was the company man or the driller who would write that down, and it depended on how he was feeling. So today, if I go to take historic drilling reports, there are so many gaps. If I take drilling reports produced by systems today, there will be little or no gaps in the future. So there's now become an exponential use of that data by AI and ML.
Yeah, but you can understand people's apprehension that that could take away their jobs.
True. So let's go back in time. When we had donkeys and horses driving carts, and someone invented the car, what did the horseshoe maker say? He says, "I've lost my job." You will upskill. That's what we need to remember. When we moved away from coal to diesel, the coal miners said, "Oh, I've lost my job." We will upskill. You will become an oil and gas person. Today, in my entire organization, I have about 180 PTEs, petrotechnical experts. 3/4 of them can program in Python. When I was in the field, if you could write 3 lines of Fortran, you were a hero. You walked around with bow legs, like I'm the fastest gun in the West. 3/4 of my organization today can program in Python. When a software dead ends in a workflow, they sit down and they write a new script to pull in data to run that program they want to and to push out an answer. So people will upskill, people will change. And I think this is why I said one of the important things about digital transformation is democratizing AI and upskilling your people. It is important. It is going to be at the center of everything we do. And I think we the statement I made, and I think I thank Mr. Odio for rehashing that statement. AI does not replace human intelligence. AI is a tool for human intelligence. AI gives us the ability to be better engineers, to be super engineers in the future.
Okay. So we have one very last question, and that would be it. So Lamidi Babalola is asking, how do we leverage the AI predictive modeling of reservoir properties with the traditional methods, such as using Petrel and other software algorithms?
So the beauty of the AI type modeling is that it can take, so where with standard Petrel modeling, we would take a couple of variables, we will keep them static and we'll assume, or we will make presumptions on that variable being static for a couple of either depths or time series or depth series. With AI, you can get that variable as it comes. You can get you can get that variable changing all the time, because now you have a model that is fast enough to process that variable on a scale that, a standard Petrel model with you being the input for the selection of that variable could not do. That's the major difference. It's the efficiency at the scale of picking and running with different variables. And I'm happy to if you can contact me, that Ademola has my my details. I can walk you through a session on that. It's actually quite interesting, and it's a big how would I say, it's a big improvement on geomodeling with Petrel.
Okay. All right. Thank you very, very much for this exciting session we've had with you. We've learned a lot, and you can see from the generous number of questions that have been asked that the interest in the subject is very keen. Thank you once again. I would leave the floor for the chairman. I think he has 1 or 2 comments to make as well before we take announcements.
Really, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Mr. Bafor. We appreciate people who come forward to do this lecture, tell us exactly what is going on, since many of us do not have access to this new technology anymore or anyway. So, but we get to learn as we move along. God bless you, and we say thank you. And it's exciting to see at least 30 people dial into this virtual meeting, and that was exciting too. And we keep progressing from here on to other things, and I'm excited about the new chapter. And I welcome everybody. And thank you so much. Hand over to Victor.
Thank you so much, sir, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to our presenter for such an insightful presentation, for focusing on the current reality and future reality of our industry. So I've learned so much, but without wasting much of your time, so we got a couple of announcements to make. First of all, yes, we acknowledge and recognize NAPE North America as the sponsor of today's technical business meeting. Many thanks to the leadership team and every single member. So once again, thank you so much, Mr. Bafor, for the talk. Yes, 2024 NAPE Annual International Conference and Exhibition is around the corner, and that is scheduled for between November 10 and 14 of this year at the usual place, at least for the last couple of years, Eco Hotel in Nigeria. And this year theme is resolving the Nigerian energy trilemma, energy security, sustainable growth, and affordability. I think that's a very interesting theme for the year. The one that reflects, again, the reality of our time. And there are a lot of different sub-themes. But the most important thing here really is the call for abstract. And that is ongoing right now. And the deadline to submit an abstract is July 31st, just about a month away. And the acceptance letter will be issued by end of August. So, and of course, it is expected that the full paper submission comes in by end of September. So if you have any technical paper that you intend to present or to publish in NAPE, so it is time for you to forward that to the headquarters. And if you go on the website, you will also find more information regarding this. But if you are sending in your abstract, it is to Dr. A.O. Shofolabo. Then the email here is editor-in-chief@nape.org.ng, editor-in-chief@nape.org.ng. Then another important thing about the conference is, especially for our industry captains and leaders, you have a unique opportunity to advertise your business, to advertise your company. And right now, you can submit that by reaching out to the headquarters office through the program manager, I believe, Mr. Oswago. So anyway, if you go on the website, you see of course, there's a generic email anyway, NAPE exhibition@nape.org.ng. So in terms of registration to attend, I think right now, the early bird, the promotion is ongoing. So if you're a member, I think you get even much more discount. That's 80,000 naira. Then if you're a non-member, you pay 90. I mean, after August, if you're still a member, you pay a little bit more. But the most important thing here is registration is ongoing. If you see the website of NAPE, nape.org.ng to register. And this is a very interesting theme for this year, and I believe there is going to be a lot of great and enriched technical papers, and it is a great way to also network. So yes, this is much more for corporate organizations that might want to exhibit. So this is just a view of the exhibition floor. And the deadline for submission, if you want to really exhibit, you want to showcase what your company does, your organization does, the deadline for subscription is Friday, November 1st, 2024. And you can reach out to NAPE through napeexhibitions@gmail.com. I think, yeah, or you just reach out to the secretariat, Mr. Lawrence. So yes, personally, this is one of my favorite parts of the conference every year. That is based in evaluation competition that focuses on university students. So yes, we might not have a lot of Nigerian students here. However, I think the message for this audience is to encourage you to sign up for to be a mentor, because each of these schools that will be competing, they will need your guidance, they will need your technical coaching. So we encourage, if you feel like volunteering, we greatly encourage that. Probably, you have an alma mater back in Nigeria. If you can just sign up with your alma mater and encourage these younger folks to participate in this. So yes, this is very exciting. I think NAPI has optimized the members portal. I had a quick visit to that portal early today, and that was very great. Easy to navigate, very user friendly. So you are encouraged to check it out. And they've made it a lot easier to pay your annual dues, even to register for conferences or short courses. So it is a very great advancement development for NAPI. So we are all encouraged to check it out. So yes, I think this is long overdue. The event has overtaken this. They said the election was extended, but that's actually gone. Then I think one other thing here is, yes, there is an upcoming Energy Week that is taking place in Abuja in 2 days, actually. So if by chance you are still going to be in Nigeria in 3 days, so that is occurring between June 30th and 4th of July. So, and I think it is an opportunity to showcase opportunity, driving investment, and of course, in order to meet the energy demand. So, yes, this is very, very important. NAPE is an organization, not for profit organization, that depends on the donations from members. So for NAPE to be able to fulfill all its commitment, it is important that as members, we are also showing commitment by paying our annual dues. So like I mentioned previously, if you go to the website, nape.org.ng, it is pretty much easy to navigate, and you can easily get the tabs for paying your annual dues. And there is so much benefits to paying annual dues as well. So again, this is just reiterating the need to pay annual due. If you don't want to go to the website, there you can get the payment information here. This is the account details for NAPE. And yes, so we are also appealing to individuals or companies, representatives of company capitals of industry, that there is an opportunity to be a sponsor of a technical or business monthly meeting. If you want to sponsor a technical meeting, please reach out. You can reach out to Demola Land America chapter is our share, or you reach out to the headquarters, or you reach out to so we reach out to our president-elect, Mr. John Bosco, or the headquarters through Lawrence. So thank you, and with that, we just briefly transition to the vote of thanks. So first of all, we want to thank our keynote speaker today, Mr. Bafor. Thank you for your time. Thank you for honoring the invitation. And thank you for educating us. And thank you for keeping us current on the digital transformation space. I would also like to thank our chair for today's meeting, Mr. Gilbert. A lot has been said about him. I've been admiring him from distance since I was my first year in the university, and I remember in part 2, the first time I had the opportunity to attend the NAPE conference. So and one thing that really attracted me to him is his passion for the younger generation, particularly the students. I mean, we've heard about all the initiatives he had to lead in terms of university outreach. So he might not know this, but he is the reason for many of us to stay in geoscience. So we are grateful to that, sir. So yes, we also want to thank our president-elect, Mr. John Bosco, NAPE president. Thank you. It is so late in Nigeria right now, so thank you for staying this late and being part of today's meeting. So I want to thank especially our chair, NAPE North America chapter, Mr. Demola Lanisa. This guy is a workaholic, and I so much admire his leadership. He's pulling all of us together. And as he rightly mentioned, this is a very new chapter, yet doing a lot of great things. So thank you for your leadership. And I also want to thank the entire leadership team for all that you do. Thank you for, pulling us together in order to drive the chapter. And I also want to thank all our attendees today. And thank you for your time. Thank you for joining in. And we also want to use this opportunity to encourage us. This is a very new chapter. It is important that we tell others who are not yet aware of NAPE North America. Let's be the messenger. Let's be the town crier for NAPE North America. So we have friends within our network who are geoscientists who are fully eligible to be part of this. So let's continue to be the messenger. And thank you for your time. So with that, I think it is a wrap, except there's any comment. So thank you so much. Oh, I mean, Mr. Lamidi raising up his hand. Oh, sorry. Do you have a question, Mr. Babalola? Sorry, people are dropping off already, but our speaker is gone. Okay. Sorry, I didn't see that.
Hello, good evening. Hello? Hello.
Hello, sir. You can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the organization of this lecture. Very insightful, and we appreciate the lecturer. I actually sent a request to Mr. Lanisa on the chat page. I left Nigeria quite a while, so I've lost touch with NAPE. So I'm just asking the question, how can I reactivate my membership? I'm based in Orawa. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sir. Do you mind sending me a message on WhatsApp and I will send you the link for that?
Okay, your WhatsApp number would be?
070 67.
I can give you mine.
Okay, I think I can do that. Just I'll just add you to the North America